right, hello. Welcome back to episode 12 of Trash Talkin.
I'm Reg.
I'm Ian. We were going to do a roast today, but we saw some of the reactions of the Tom Brady roast and didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So we'll be sticking to basketball and baseball today and not going after any GOATs because I was writing my material for the Michael Jordan roast, but there was way too much gambling roast I had, so I thought I'd put them away. So we're going to talk about some basketball, some baseball. I feel like last week we talked about the Nuggets. And I was kind of talking about how they were unbeatable and how no one's going to touch them. And now they're down 2-0. We'll start there. Are the Nuggets just playing way below their level, or the Wolves just really good?
I think it's a combination of both. The Nuggets, to me, sometimes you play a series and you give it your all, and you do the little extra, and they beat the Lakers. And sometimes that was a high because last year it was in the conference final when they beat them, and then they went to the finals. But this year, I think beating them and then turning around right away with a rested Timberwolves team. And I still think Jamal Murray's really hurt. It doesn't look like he's playing, and he doesn't have the same edge that he normally does. But the Timberwolves
on the court.
Yeah, that one. They hurt him.
Yeah, he's doing things.
100,000. That's nothing to them. But, but I think the Timberwolves have way outplayed them, especially in Denver. It's tough to go there and beat them twice. Anthony Edwards is just showing why he's an MVP and how this is a new era in basketball for the NBA. All the guys like Durant, Anthony Davis, LeBron, James Harden. The game has changed. They're down here, and now you got guys like Gilchrist, and you got Anthony Edwards leading the way. The Timberwolves, they got two big guys that can help out on Jokic. They can use fouls. Anthony Edwards creates open shots for guys. Are the Nuggets done? I think it's almost impossible to come back losing the first two at home and winning 4 out of 5. But who knows? They have the experience. Minnesota doesn't have the experience. But sometimes, it's not experience. It's a youthful league now. And I think these young teams like them in OKC are proving that you don't need the experience. They have the young legs, and they're just running them down. And playing in the altitude didn't seem to bother them. They're jumping out to early leads. And it's tough to two-peat in any sport.
Yeah.
And, Denver's not a dynasty. They're not you can win 3 or 4 in a row or 4 in 5 years. They're a very good team. They won last year. Everything went their way. Going all out against the Lakers the first round and beating them and facing Anthony Edwards, who seems like he's on a mission.
Yeah.
And, to me, it would be great if them in Oklahoma City were in the conference finals because it's a new era. There's no ring chasers on any of those teams. All these other teams like the Clippers should be embarrassed. They go out and spend billions of dollars on 2 or 3 players who never win in the playoffs like James Harden. And you're going to be at home watching these 2 young teams who have drafted well and picked up role players. And it'll be an interesting offseason because I think a lot of these ring chasers are going to be calling Oklahoma City and Minnesota, asking them if they want them.
Yeah.
So, but no, Minnesota's definitely outplayed them, and I wouldn't give Denver more than 10% chance of coming back.
Can't be that high because it's like to lose 2 at home, and they have some of the best home court advantage in the sport. The altitude. I think I don't know if it's a LeBron thing. I don't know if it's a all the trash talking in the offseason, Mike Malone saying, that they're the Lakers' daddy in the offseason. I think it was hard to live up to because as soon as they saw the Lakers in the playoffs, it felt like the finals for them. And I think that's really an underrated storyline is that Jokic did not play good in that series, really. When you look at just watching Jokic, his stats were there, but Jokic seemed off that whole series. And I wasn't impressed by anyone on the Nuggets besides Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray because he hit 2 game winners, and Aaron Gordon. Those were 3 players I watched, and I thought those guys played amazing. But everyone else I thought is kind of off. And if we're really thinking about it, a 7 seed should have taken – the Lakers should have taken the Nuggets to 6, really, if it wasn't for 2 walk-offs. It felt like a struggle the whole series. That's why I said it was a close 5-game series. It was very close. It felt like you could have won either way.
They had the lead most games, the Lakers.
73% of the time, the Lakers had the lead. That doesn't just happen. Yeah. And I feel dumb because – when we talked about it last week, I didn't really give the Wolves much of a chance, but I think they could sweep them.
Yeah. Again, this isn't a deep league for teams. There's not a lot of teams that can roll 8-9 guys out there and you can ram 9 guys off a team. They have a few role players that are playing. Anthony Edwards doesn't come off the court. Karl Anthony Towns is playing good. I know Gobert didn't play the other night, but they're not a deep team. Oklahoma City is a more deeper team.
Yeah.
And I think those two teams, the athleticism would be a great final.
That'd be fun.
And again, Oklahoma City to me proved why they were the number 1 seed. And I now I realize the Lakers wouldn't have beat Oklahoma City.
I don't think so.
If they would have
too young,
lost the game on purpose to set up the match, they wouldn't have.
I think what everyone thought was going to work for the Lakers as they played OKC would have been what killed the Lakers. I think OKC's young, they're energetic, and I think you got LeBron and AD hobbling up the court every 10 minutes. That would have been tough for the Lakers to hold up. But I think if we had SGA against Ant in the conference finals, that would be amazing. I know it's not two big markets, but see those two young guys, 23 and 22, or I think SGA is 24 now. It is a new era, and it's really funny because I feel like, LeBron, even though he's still playing great, AD, Kawhi, Durant, I feel like I haven't watched Kawhi play basketball in 4 years.
They're done.
That's all moving out, and now you're kind of getting to see these young guys, and the guy we're going to talk about next, like Jalen Brunson and Ant and SGA, Luka, obviously he didn't have a great game, but you're starting to see these new guys. So I don't think the Nuggets have played that bad. I think they've played bad, but I think Anthony Edwards, I think momentum is a huge thing in the playoffs, especially in the NBA. And him coming off that, 4-game sweep against the Suns, he was doing the whole chop to Kevin Durant. He was talking trash the whole time. I just think he's on a mission. It's I don't want to say someone at 22 years old is Jordan-esque, but watching him reminds me of Jordan. Even though I didn't watch Jordan, I've seen all the highlights I've watched. He looks like
he wasn't that great in college. You would have never thought this when they drafted him. You would have never saw this coming.
I hated Anthony Edwards coming in the draft because of some of his comments and because he had said many times, basketball is not my love. I could stop playing basketball and be fine. I didn't want anyone to touch. He looked like a Johnny Manziel waiting to happen, and now he's turned into this. People are calling him he's going to be the next best player in the league, but I think it's premature because you still have Jokic and Doncic. But I don't know. I think Ant's making a statement. I think the Wolves were kind of like this poverty team for a long time that had great players but couldn't win, and he's made the difference. And I'm so happy because I love Rudy Gobert just because everyone hates him. I think you don't get all those defensive player of the years without being at least pretty good. And so I'm happy that he's starting to get, because we killed the Wolves for that trade, which we should have because it was like 3 first-round picks.
They gave up a lot for him.
Gave up a lot, but I'm happy that it didn't end as one of the worst trades ever, and it's starting to work a little bit.
Thanks to Rudy, he shut down basketball for COVID.
We didn't have
Rudy getting sick. They would have kept playing.
We didn't have basketball for 2 years because of Rudy. So
Rudy was the first person to get COVID.
The hate is warranted for that, but I'm really happy for the Wolves. I love watching these new guys. It's a lot of energy. It feels like March Madness when I watch Ant and I watch SGA, and the Thunder should get more credit too.
It's a youthful league, and you see it now. And the older guys playing, it's a different game.
It's way different. It's a good different because we were getting a little too comfortable, and it's like all the rap beef with Kendrick Lamar and Drake this week. Everyone's happy because everyone's getting so nice in rap, and now everyone's starting to go at each other again. The same thing in the NBA. I love LeBron. One of the things I don't like about LeBron is that he's loves everybody, which is a good thing, but he's very friendly with everybody on the court. I love that competition. You're seeing it. It's a lot of fun, and Ant does. Like he did it to Kevin Durant. He says it's his idol.
He's saying it, but he trash talk, but he backs
Killed
it up.
That's
he
the
backs
thing.
It up.
I love Ant. I know there's a lot of people, and I was thinking about it last night because your dad, I don't think would have liked Anthony Edwards. I was thinking about it when I was thinking about like Juan Soto. I was thinking about the older generation who didn't. I love the showboating if you can back it up. I love it.
You know what? I don't like it in a way. I think it causes more harm than good. Standing over somebody or whatever. Blah blah blah. There has to be a point where you get a technical foul.
Oh yeah. But if you can back it up and you're staring the guy down and he's talking to KD, talking you can't guard. I love that. That's sports to me. And even though that was a 4-game sweep, that series was awesome because Ant did the whole time.
He showed the whole team up.
And so I think, I don't know, I would give them, if we're kind of predicting the end, I think they're going to sweep. I think they're going to win the next 2. I don't see Jokic really turning it up. Jamal's hurt, like you said. I thought he was going to get suspended, but he got fined. But Jamal's hurt. He hasn't been playing like he should be. And I think he's probably the most important part of that team. I know Jokic is great, but when Jamal was hurt 2 years ago,
Lakers twice.
He did it by himself.
He beat the Lakers 2 games this year.
He gave them that 5-game series. They should have went back to 6. It could have went 7. So
if Denver would have lost that game, I think it was going 7 for sure. And who knows what would
the happen. Second or the
game
first?
5.
Oh, I think
game 5, it's going 7.
If they lost the game where the Lakers were up 20, and Jamal had to walk off the Lakers, if it's 1-1, I think we would have had a really close series the rest of the way. So I think it's more that the Wolves are actually good, and we didn't give them any credit because I didn't give them any credit.
I didn't think they were this good.
Yeah, but you and Carm last week said you give them a shot because the Nuggets aren't unbeatable, and I thought the Nuggets were unbeatable. I feel dumb a week later because Ant's proven you two right, and he's showing me.
Shame on the NBA for only suspending Patrick Beverley 4 games. Shame on them. That's an embarrassment. That guy should have got 20 games. Now you get 2 game suspension for pushing a fellow player. Yeah. And this clown throws a ball not once but twice at a female in the stands.
He hit her once.
And he gets 4 games. That's all he gets. Shame on the NBA for that.
Yeah, and that's terrible too.
This clown, it's not his first offense. No. And you get suspended and fined you get fined for speaking your mind after a game when a reporter asks you stupid questions. And this guy only gets 4 games. That's a bad look on the NBA.
What shocked me with that too is he's a terrible player. So usually I know when there's a good player, they often, take it easy. But I thought it would be easy to give Pat Bev and his 6 points a game, 25 games at least. I thought you can't tell me the logic behind that. You'll find guys for doing or suspend guys 2-4 games for stupid things, and then this guy in front of people is doing it. Especially in Indiana, where we've seen it happen.
Exactly.
We've seen fans come back. Yeah, so that's what they were talking about. The reports that day were that don't be surprised if you don't see Pat next year. That was the report that came out the next day. The executive
Clippers, would you want them? They're not going to win anyway.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to have anybody.
He can't score.
He's not a good player, and it was he hit the lady the first time.
Yeah.
She wasn't looking, hit her in the head. She laughed it off, and he threw it right back. So I think he's a bum. I've never liked Patrick Beverley. He always pissed me off when he was on the Clippers.
It's a terrible look for the league.
Yeah, well, he continues to do things that make the league look bad.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about someone who's making the league look really good right now because the mecca of basketball, Madison Square Garden, New York, the Knicks have been poverty for I've never seen a good Knicks team. I saw Carmelo Anthony be decent for a minute. I'm really happy to see the Knicks back, and it's because of one guy. Obviously, they have great role players, DiVincenzo, Anunoby. I love Harvenstein, Josh Hart. But is Jalen Brunson becoming a superstar? He's been a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, for sure. He's carrying this team. Man, this guy is unbelievable. And you know what? I hope Mark Cuban did better on Shark Tank than he did with this because he had Jalen Brunson sitting there. He could have had Jalen Brunson and Luka all this time. He didn't want to pay him the money. The Knicks did. And you know what? Even in college, there's another guy in college. Brunson wasn't that great.
Villanova, they produced some guys.
He just wasn't that great, but a team player. He's gotten better. His last year with the Mavs, he started averaging 16 points a game. He shot 50% from the field.
In the playoffs, when Luka got hurt,
he took over. And Mark Cuban, for some reason, didn't want to pay him, and it cost him the next 3 or 4 years until now when Kyrie's half decent.
Yeah.
But if you watch Brunson, he's the heart and soul of that team. He's a perfect fit for New York. And if they had Julius Randle, I would give them a really good shot at beating the Celtics. Without Randle, I could see the Knicks scaring them, maybe going 6, winning for sure 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
But the guy is unbelievable. He dictates the pace. He's a lefty. He plays defense. He can shoot the 3. He's always at the foul line because the way he plays, he makes you fall.
Yeah.
He drives the basket, and he takes over a game.
Yeah.
He is the perfect fit for New York. And again, this year, 29 points, 7 assists. I have him top 8, 10 for sure in the league. What do you think?
I just had this argument with someone I think yesterday about Kyrie and Jalen Brunson. I think Brunson's way better than Kyrie. It's a carry job is what he's doing right now because it's a great – I love the Knicks. I've always wanted the Knicks to be good because it's so much fun with Madison Square Garden when it's fun. When they're good, it's fun.
Well, the refs like him too.
Yeah, the refs seem to like him too. 79 calls their way in the first 2 games. But I just think I watched the game last night, and he got hurt, and OG was playing unbelievable. They have good role players, and I love Josh Hart. But it's I don't know how to explain. I don't want to overrate him, but there's his presence when he's on the court. Is a king of clutch, it feels like to me now.
He's a quarterback on the court.
He knows what he's doing.
He's like Tom Brady out there. He's a quarterback.
He's perfect. He's like this is my Raptor bias. He's like a way better version of Kyle Lowry. Villanova, small, scrappy, and you'd think their height would stop them in the paint, but he's so smooth when he gets in there. And the thing about the Knicks, it feels like a high school team, like the OKC feels like. They feel like they're all in it together. It's like the New York in any sport is always cut out from the rest of the country. And I don't know. It feels like Knicks fans are going crazy. I would love to see them. I think it will be Celtics, Knicks. I don't think Randall makes as much of a difference as I thought he would have a couple months ago. Because I'm watching them right now, and I love Hartenstein. I think he's been the most underrated player of the series. He's tough down low. He gets boards. He's got a bunch of second chance. And they have the most underrated supporting cast, in my opinion. DiVincenzo hits everything he shoots.
He was a great pick.
He's so – I love DiVincenzo. He won them a game against Philly in the last series. He's hitting clutch shots. OG Anunoby. If you're not from Canada, you had no clue how good OG was before he went to the Knicks. They were talking last night like, oh, this was never OG. This has been OG when he's healthy. He's had health issues, but he is a perfect fit for them. He's a 3-and-D. He had 28 when Jalen Brunson went out.
It was a good trade both ways.
It was great. We got a great pickup.
It helped both teams.
Yes, but I even thought that the Knicks – at that point, I thought the Knicks gave up way too much. They gave up Barrett and Quickly. But OG is perfect for them. I hope he's not hurt because I know he went out last game with left hamstring soreness. I hope he's good because Josh Hart's a dog too. Like the definition of dog because he's not a flashy guy, but he'll get you 15 rebounds and 4 points if he needs to.
They're team players. They're absolute awesome. Team players. The coach is good. And again, they're like the Timberwolves. They'll play defense. Yeah. Unlike a lot of teams like Indiana will not play defense. That's as much as you can say, but they will play defense and
Tibbs is going to make you play defense. Every Tibbs team plays defense, and I don't get it because I live off this. I watch Colin Cowherd. I watch First Things First, and everybody going into the playoffs like, oh, the Knicks play way too hard. I don't know what that means that they play too hard.
You couldn't play like they are all year round.
No, but
you couldn't.
The Tibbs teams they hustle so much, and people were taking that away from them. Like, oh, that's going to hurt you in a 7-game series because it's going to exude stamina. I don't think that's hurting them at all. I think that they have had that mindset all year, and there's been no intensity change. They just continue it.
They thrive off their crowd. Their crowd is crazy. It's unbelievable. They're great supporter, Knicks fans. They travel well, but they really feed off them, and that helps their defense. And then they're never out of a game.
No, they have 3-point shooters. That's the thing. They have sneaky 3-point shooters. Again, if you're not from Canada, you didn't know how good OG was from 3. He was great. Josh Hart is an underrated 3-point shooter. I feel like he's making all the important shots. DiVincenzo's a great 3-point shooter. And Brunson, it felt like Kawhi that one run for us, 2019 run, because I was watching the game and there was a couple shots that hit the back, and when it was like luck. But it's just if you have that, you often get lucky more than you get unlucky. They've been fun to watch, and he went for 4 games straight, 40 a game. He was averaging 40. I was looking at a list. I should have printed it out for this, but he's like second in playoff points per game all time right now on a run. He just passed Carmelo for the most playoff points for a Knick. Like, it's fun to watch, and I don't even think Indiana's playing bad. Like, they played good last night. Halliburton's been horrible.
Indiana they don't even think about playing defense. If they would just in the playoffs all year round, who cares if you don't play defense? But in the playoffs, you got to play a little bit of defense.
You'd think they would too. Miles Turner is a great defensive player.
When they score, it's almost like, oh, you know what? They're going to go down and score. Just get the rebound for us. I'll be up here, and that's how it looks like when they're playing.
That's what Reggie Miller said last night, or it might have been Van Gundy, who the Pacers came back and got a huge 3, and it was like, well, it doesn't matter because the Knicks are going to go back and score anyways. And that's a good team. Like, if Halliburton has shown up in this series, I might be 1-1. We might be having even more fun because Siakam was supposed to come in as a second option. He's been their best player by far. So for a 2-0 series, this is the most fun I've had watching a series this year.
Well, they're a fun team to watch, Indiana, no doubt. But one thing we got to talk about a little bit here is after the game, the refs are evaluated, and there's always all these missed calls in games. Eventually, refs have to get fined for their performance, just as players do and coaches do. But if they're evaluating the game the next day and there's 30 missed calls, there's 3 refs out there. You can figure out who's missing the calls. You have to start finding these refs so we get better games because sometimes and I've always said this about sports, when you're in the playoffs, they need teams in big markets to be there. Yeah. Right now, the Knicks and the Celtics would be a huge draw for television. Indiana is not going to draw well if they play the Celtics, and they won't last long against them. So they have to evaluate the refs and hold their standard like they hold the players and the coaches' standards.
Yeah. No, I've thought forever. I know there's one sport that does this. I don't know who. I think it might be the NFL, who they don't fine, but after the game, the refs have their own post game, but it's not televised or anything. It's with league officials, and if you miss this call, you have to explain why you missed this call, what you saw. I think they need to be in the same position as players after the game, answering, especially umpires in MLB. They've ruined some huge moments, but the NBA playoffs I found have been very usually you swallow your whistle in the playoffs. I feel like they haven't at all. I feel like they've been trying to control the game.
The part that bothers me is they'll stop the game every 2 seconds for a tenth of a second on the clock.
Yeah.
They want to see when the ball went out, if it's 0.2, 0.3, blah, blah, blah. But last night, the Pacer guy didn't kick the ball.
Oh, yeah.
They had the ball tied with
that first game was horrible.
I mean, come on. Everything should be reviewable.
The moving screen
was a bad call. I mean, and the Knicks and the Sixers had some bad calls both ways.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
I mean, they're unfortunately the talk after the game, which unfortunately is the refs in the NBA, which happens more often than not. But I still say they got to be held to a higher standard because apparently these guys are better than the guys that didn't make the playoffs. So how bad were the guys that didn't make the playoffs? If these guys are up there, or refs, so. To me, just don't ruin the games. You can see the coaches getting mad, and the players are frustrated. That just call the game fair. And if you have to, the games are long enough anyway. If you got to review a few more things, especially in the playoffs, not all regular season, but in the playoffs.
But I think everyone will be fine with that.
Yeah,
take a couple minutes, review things. That moving screen was horrible because I don't know. I feel like they've dropped the ball a lot in the playoffs. I feel like in the past couple of years in all sports, we've been talking more about refs than games, which sucks because these last 2 games have been really good. They come down to the wire, and we've had to talk about the officiating. So hopefully we get a more clean. I know there's 2 good games tonight. Hopefully we get more clean officiating. Swallow your whistle a little bit. Let these physical teams play because it has been pretty physical. That's what I'll say. I've seen a massive change from the regular season to the playoffs. They're letting them play in the paint a lot more.
You have to, yeah. Because you don't want anybody falling out either.
No, it's been a lot of fun. So let's switch to a sport that might be the worst when it comes to officiating. But this year and every year in the MLB, you get a couple teams that you thought were going to be really good that are really bad. Really big surprise this year. And you get teams that you thought were going to be really bad that are really good. We're going to take some surprising and disappointing teams. Who are your surprising and disappointing teams?
My surprising team, well, first, since the eclipse happened, the Oakland A's have been hot. I mean, they're 18-21. Yeah, if anybody watching this show can name 5 players on that team without looking at a box score,
Ricky Henderson.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there's not 5 fans. There's not even 5 fans at the game. If you name 5 players, it's unbelievable for them to be 18-21, and good for them. And they're at the beginning of the year, their season win total was 53.5.
Yeah.
Which now already they're a third of the way there. They've beaten some good teams. So, my surprise teams are all going to be small markets. The Kansas City Royals, 23-16. They don't spend money. They got one superstar, Bobby Witt.
He's awesome.
And they have starting pitching that's getting better. They got Cole Reagans. They got Alex Marsh. They picked up a guy, Seth Lugo. They picked up a few pitchers that are coming a long way. They don't have much hitting, but they play old school baseball, and they beat you with running and bunting and hit. And right now, for their record, with the money they spend, that's awesome. Yeah. And another team is the Washington Nationals. They're 500, 18-18 in the toughest division in baseball with the Phillies and the Braves. I mean, for them to be 500, they have a bunch of young guys that can hit. They've got a few pitchers, Trevor Williams and that, Jake Irvin and stuff. They don't spend money. I like seeing that. Yeah. They're a 500 team. And the one team that they were good, and I'm going to say they're a surprise team, because when you lose Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff for the year, you lose 2 studs. Christian Yelich just came back yesterday from the DL. They have a bunch of young kids who are hungry and can hit. Oh, yeah. And to lose those 2 pitchers and to be in first place in their division, to me, that's huge. That's unbelievable. My disappointing teams, and I think no surprise, is pretty easy, but the Houston Astros, my God, 12-24. Yeah, the talent they have, the money they spend. I know they had their pitching staff has been hurt all year. They're finally starting to come around. Looks like Verlander might not be the same finally after all these years.
Yeah, it's over.
But to be that 12-24 in a division with Texas and Seattle,
there's no coming back from
there's no coming back when you're this far down. You can win enough games. Their pitching has been bad. Their hitting hasn't been up to par. So to me, they're by far the biggest disappointment. I put the Blue Jays up there, 17-20. I thought if they lost yesterday, the coach wouldn't make it back to Toronto, but they won. No hitting at all.
No.
You got George Springer, 206, Bichette, 191, Alejandro Kirk, 205. Vladdy's 245 now. That's only because he started.
He was 208 2 weeks ago.
That's only because he's getting hot. But all these guys are going to get paid, and they have nothing to show for it. They're going to get millions of bucks, and they're batting 200. Their pitching's been better than expected. Not Alex Manoah, but
we'll talk about.
He may want to buy a house in Buffalo. I got a feeling he's going to be.
He's going to be saying that. Kikuchi's been awesome.
I mean, their pitching has been good. Gosman's going to get better. I mean, they've lost so many games, 3-2, 4-2. They're hitting. They should be embarrassed with the lineup they have. And I honestly think that coach will not make it to the end of May unless they turn it around now. Yeah, exactly. Unless they turn it around now, he's done by the end of May. And to me, just because they were in the World Series last year, Arizona, I know they're playing a little better. Their hitting's been horrible. Their pitching, they only got one guy, Zach Gallen. He's about the only guy doing anything. That Corbin Carroll's batting 200. He was Rookie of the Year.
That's true.
Sometimes teams are one-hit wonders. I hope they're not. They have some talent. That Marino, the Jays game isn't hitting well. They got Gurriel, and they're just not hitting well either. And their pitch is pretty thin. But my God, the Dodgers are 26-13. They're now just getting their pitching staff back. They got Walker, Kershaw hasn't even played. You got Glass now. Their lineup is Betts, Freeman, Ohtani, Teoscar Hernandez, and Max Muncy.
That's awesome.
I mean, if they don't get bored during the season, because it's a long season, I'm sure they don't give a shit about every game and they don't care, to get up for 162 games. But if they actually did, I can't see them winning less than 110 games.
They're unbelievable. That's an all-star team.
Yeah, it's basically them, the Braves, and the Phillies. Like I don't consider those surprise teams. So I don't consider any team that we talked about at the beginning of the season we're going to win. I think most of those teams are there now. Yeah. So, but those are my teams. What do you got?
So when we talk about I thought it was funny with the Dodgers. They thought it was very necessary to post the other day that Shohei has now passed Dave Roberts for the most home runs of the Japanese-born player at 10. That was the big news that he said 10 home runs. I think we all could have put a bet coming into the year that he was going to pass Dave Roberts for most home runs on the list. I thought that was a funny stat. So for the surprising teams, I have two of yours. So I have the Royals. I love Bobby Witt. I've loved Bobby Witt since he came in the league. He's fast. He's like obviously he's way better than this already, but it's like Dustin Pedroia wasn't like a crazy home run hitter, but he's a tool guy. He's going to hit doubles. He's going to stretch singles into doubles. He's like a way better version of our guy, Jarren Duran, who's fast and he's going to stretch. The Tigers, it's been a long time coming for the Tigers. It's been a long rebuild. They're still in the rebuild. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, even though they're playing great. But Riley Green has started the season off on fire. I kind of like watching Riley Green play because he's one of those guys he's going to bat for average, which I don't care about. I'm not a big average guy. I know old school baseball, they love the batting average. I'm more for slugging and OPPS. But the Tigers have been great, and I'm going to go with, because you kind of persuaded me because I had a different one before, but the Oakland A's started off this season so bad. Brent Rooker was like 0 for 21 to start the year. He was so bad. He hit 2 home runs the other day. He's picked it up. And I was trying to name 5 guys when you were telling me. I don't know if I could. I know Mason Miller has been unbelievable.
They made him into a reliever.
They kept sending up and down Esteury Ruiz, who was playing unbelievable in center field. Like I said, Brent Rooker's been great. JJ Bleday. They have like decent players that are young that could be something. But I'm happy for them because last year it was complete negativity over not just baseball that was being played. It was about, ownership, and the stadium's horrible. And are they going to go to Las Vegas? The stadium is terrible. When you watch games in Oakland, it is the worst experience just watching it on the TV. The foul territory is massive. I hate that stadium. I can't wait for them to move out of it. But the A's have been really, really impressed with me. 18-21, that team is not 18-21. When you look at them on paper, that team is a really bad team. And I was embarrassed when they played us really hard in the second series of the season, the Red Sox. But since then, they've played very good.
A little love for our team. A week ago, we were pretty impressive for a team.
No, they're going to be surprising.
I hope they're on there.
For my surprising, the Red Sox are on there.
Yes, they should.
I will say that.
They have very good pitching. They're probably a hitter away from being very good, but they're young pitchers.
I don't know if we still do. Do we still have the best ERA?
Yeah, they're the best ERA in the league.
Starting. That's the Red Sox. We never have that.
Everyone, I don't know, Red Sox fans, I find that a lot of the teams that I root for, we have terrible fans. Yeah. Sabres, Cowboys, Red Sox. Not the Raptors. We have pretty good fans. But Red Sox fans, after losing 2 to the Braves, are like jumping off the shim. Like, did you guys think we were winning both games? Because not for once in my life did I think
the pitching kept it in the game.
It kept in the second game against, like, we thought Chris Sale was going to be bad against us because I knew for a fact Chris Sale was going to destroy us, and he did. So
pitching good.
He's pitching very that.
Yeah,
you know,
we don't want to hear it.
The thing about it is we got a great player back from him. I like Von Grissom a lot, so I'm okay with it. But you knew Chris Sale was going to go to Atlanta and be the
He'll
best.
get hurt before the end of the year.
He'll get hurt, but he'll give you the his arm is done. But I got to go with the Red Sox for one of my surprising teams because the hitting is it was disappeared against 2 good teams. Yeah. Against I understand the Twins have great pitching, and I'll never. People are like, oh, how come we couldn't hit against the Twins? Because their pitching is great. I understand. And they're very hot. So I understand. And we were playing with the AAA team for a long time, and we were at 18-13. We've slid a little bit. I'm really happy with the Red Sox because if your expectations, like a lot of dumb fans were going into the year, was going to the World Series, you're probably really upset with the Red Sox.
Would you be happy with 500? Because I think that's where about those.
I think
that'd be a decent year.
Yeah, it'll be a really decent year. But I think the team has the talent to fight for a wild card, not to make it, but to like when I watch.
We're 2.5 an hour.
Yeah, like we're not below the Royals that much, in my opinion. Like the Royals who are in a wild card spot. It's the Yankees and Orioles division.
But we just came off 2 tough series too. Like
and now we play the Nationals, who I know have been a lot better than last year, but that's an easier series. So I'm really happy with the Red Sox, just as a fan that went into the season not expecting too much.
Everybody's been hurt.
And everyone's been hurt. Like Devers just started turning it up. Like he's been great. Duran's been really cold. The pitching's been hurt. Pitching is good. I'm happy with the Red Sox. I could spend so much more time on them because there's a lot of, but I'm not going to. They've been a surprising team to me. I'm just adding them in as an honorable mention. And then disappointment. I've been very disappointed with the Astros because not disappointed in the fact that I'm unhappy that they're bad. I'm disappointed with them in the fact that they should not be bad with Altuve, Bregman, Pena, Jordan Alvarez, Tucker. That's an all-star team too. They're just not winning. So, the pitching is
what I've noticed in the league. If you look at the box scores and you look at every team, there's a lot of horrible hitting teams. Like I don't know if the pitching's that good or the hitting's this bad, but there's a lot of teams where you're lucky if you see 3 guys in the lineup over 250, 260, which is unbelievable.
That's a big thing. And it's about, especially now, I think the MLB's kind of transitioned from a team game to stars can start to carry in the MLB a little bit. I think you've seen C.J. Abrams on the Nationals, even though they have a great core, he's emerged and made them even better than they are. I think that's a big thing.
Like I was reading the one box score, and I thought they were talking about Alejandro Kirk's. It was his weight. It was his average. He actually weighs 250, but he's only batting 205. I thought maybe he slimmed down. I thought 205 is, and this guy's doing good. He lost some weight, but that was his batting average.
He's canceled. Alejandro Kirk is a one-year wonder. I've said it. That
should have kept Marino.
He was, but he was a great hope for us short guys. He's 5'6".
I was going to call Jenny Craig. I said, my something's working. I said, if this guy's only 205, I said, something's working. I got to try.
I loved Kirk because he was small and he gave me hope. Same way I loved Altuve. But that's my next team. They have been horrible, the Jays. I'm pretty happy about that. And I want to dig in on Alek Manoah because I've never been happier to see someone be so bad. Because I remember Alek Manoah watching the Jays and Red Sox. Alek Manoah struck out Bobby Dahlbeck. Bobby Dahlbeck's hitting like 0.81 right now. He is one of the worst players I've watched play baseball. Bobby, I hope so.
Not his weight, right?
No. He's batting 0.81 right now. He's been horrible. And I remember Alek Manoah, after striking him out, talking crap to him like it was a good player. From that moment, I've never liked Alek Manoah. He's terrible.
I remember watching Manoah his rookie year, and Baltimore stunk then. This is before they started getting good.
Yeah.
And he being what a Blue Jay guy got hit, and he being two Baltimore guys, and he was yapping at him that game. And I thought, you know what, buddy, I got no respect for you. You're a rookie, and you're out there and you're doing that. And he had that cocky attitude, and he thought he was going to be the next best thing. And I'm so glad that
I thought he was going to be the next best thing. I thought I was going to have to eat my words for years. He was so good that year.
I watched that game the other day just to see if he'd be bad, and I was so happy to see that he was terrible.
I couldn't watch it. I had a gig, and I checked the box score. It was 8 runs in 2 innings. It's terrible. Yeah. And I was coming off a AAA game where him and Paul Skeens played, and Manoah had 11 strikeouts. He was unbelievable, and that's why they called him up.
That kid's unbelievable.
Skeens,
he's Saturday.
He's playing on Saturday, 4 or 5.
Unbelievable.
I can't wait to watch him.
I just hope he doesn't blow his arm out for a while, but that kid is unbelievable.
He was 0.99 ERA in the AAA. That guy's going to be unbelievable. So the Jays are my disappointing team. Very happy about that. They're making the decision on who to keep. You might have to blow it up, which is something 3-4 years ago I would have never thought we would say.
I can't see them keeping all those hitters. You keep one or the other. Bichette's useless.
He is now.
He's terrible. Is nothing. They made it all those guys coming up the three.
Biggio's not even in the conversation.
Even Guerrero.
Vladdy, aren't they friends? We should get him.
Even Guerrero, for the amount Guerrero, he hits a lot of home runs when they don't mean nothing. They're not big home runs in big games. They hit a 2-run homer when they're up 5 or down 5.
They were down 11 to the Yankees, and he hit a home run. And he did the whole thing. He was talking trash. He told them to shut up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these guys got to realize when you're batting 200 and you get a hit.
Yeah.
There's 80 times out of 100 you're not getting a hit. So there's no sense chirping when you get a hit. But I can't see them keeping all these guys.
It's going to be hard. And a while back, I would have said 100% Bichette. But Bichette on defense is a liability.
Getting worse.
He's horrible. Worse. You have to be really good at something to be really bad at something. And what is he bad at now? What do you say? 191?
191.
That's you can't be throwing games away and not able to hit.
And he doesn't even weigh that much.
He's not even up to par with the weight.
191, but I can't see that. You know what? I thought those guys were all going to get $200 to $300 million contracts. If a team's stupid enough to pay those guys that much money, somebody will.
Someone will.
I don't think the Jays will be that stupid. They're kind of penny pinchers when it comes to that, but somebody will give Guerrero a lot of money, and they're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, we will. I'm okay with it.
Worth it? You want him?
First base is Casas is hurt, but I don't know. DHing, I'd be fine with him because we have a big hitters hole. We need a big home run.
You need somebody. Yeah. And I'll tell you, the way the Dodgers are playing, if they win that many games this year, Ohtani's interpreter is going to be out of debt.
He just got up to 30 years.
Completely out of debt. He's going to win his money back.
He just got up to 33 years yesterday. He's only going to get 8. But he got up to 33 years yesterday. Poor Epe. He's gone. He's gone.
What's going to help these guys talk? What's going to happen to all these baseball players?
So I think we should add in one more thing. Me and you were very low on the Yankees going into the year. I'm kind of happy for the Yankees.
Your grandfather's team.
No, because they Juan Soto. Because I love Juan Soto, and everyone hates
Best
Juan
money
Soto.
Ever spent. They better show the money.
So good. Give him everything. Give Juan Soto everything. He's 340, 11 homer, 9
this
homers.
is without Garrett Cole and without Judge doing anything.
They'll be good this year. I'm ready to say they're gonna.
I can't believe their pitching staff has been that good. They always had a great bullpen. Yep. And you know what? They don't get many hits. They get timely hits. They don't have average either, but they'll get the timely hit. But without Soto, you take him from that team, and they're a 500 at best team.
What getting Soto did was it allowed Giancarlo Stanton to be what he is, whereas it's like a 210 hitter, but he's going to hit bombs every now and then, which is fine. He's going to hit hard. You have Soto who can hit 340 and hit hard, and you got Judge who's right in the middle.
Stanton's hitting a little better this year.
Stanton's hit a lot better this year.
He's hitting better
so
for a change.
It's a perfect setup because that outfield is really, really good. You have Dugo now too. You have Judge, Soto's. I know Stanton's not a great fielder, but you've packed up the outfield. The Yankees, I was very down on them in the prospects they gave up because they gave up like 7 prospects. It was a record for Soto for a 1-year rental. It could be. It has worked out. I think they could win the division. I think they could be better than anywhere else.
I think the playoffs, obviously, you have top of the line teams, and you get them, Baltimore, now you got Texas if they get healthy with their pitching. Cleveland's not exciting, but if they get another pitcher,
they should have been surprising.
They can bore you to death. They're in a horrible division.
Yeah,
Minnesota's good, but they're in a not a horrible division, but you get
that 12-game winning streak was what do you say? It was 8 games against the White Sox.
So I don't consider that really.
No, it wasn't much of a winning streak, but
you know what? The Yankees and Orioles just played each other. It was a hell of a series. You know, Tampa Bay's down, Toronto's down, Boston's average. So those two teams are the cream of the crop in that division. And it'll go down to the final week probably of those two teams. And maybe one of them will make a big trade at the deadline if they really want to win and go get somebody.
It would be hard to see the Yankees making a big trade because I just don't know. You kind of have to, with just a thought that Soto could leave, I would still try and keep whatever farm you have. But I could see the Orioles going to get another pitcher because I think that would put them over the top. But that'll have to do for now because I feel like we've been talking forever, which I could do about the MLB. So we're going to save it till next week. There will be maybe the Nuggets will be out by next week. There might be a lot to talk about next week. So we're going to save it. Thank you for watching Trash Talkin'.
I'm Reg.
I'm me, and we'll see you next week.